Thank you for joining the Once Changing the World, which is India's first future tech meets sustainability podcast. And today I'm delighted and honored to have with me Mr. Vijay Pravin Mahajan, who's an entrepreneur, data scientist, non-fungible token, and blockchain expert. He completed his master's from the Technical University of Munich and has worked with firms like Volkswagen and Siemens. He was amongst the top 20 data scientists on LinkedIn and recognized as one of the top 40 data scientists in India. He's currently the founder of Bitscrunch, an analytic firms in the space of NFT. So Vijay, I really appreciate you taking time and being part of the podcast. Why don't we start with your intro, your background, and your journey from being a data scientist to a blockchain entrepreneur?
Thanks a lot for having me on your podcast. So myself, Vijay, and I founded Bitscrunch amidst pandemic. So we crunch each and every bits of data. So that is the reason behind the naming of Bitscrunch. And then, crypto Web3 space is very broad. So you have crypto, you have coins, tokens, DeFi, lending protocols, CeFi, and so many out there. But then we picked NFTs as a niche, non-fungible tokens. By that, non-fungible means non-fungible token is a unique token that somebody can own, right? One Bitcoin is always one Bitcoin. 50 rupees is always 50 rupees. Or you could do 10 rupees into 5, but it is always worth 50. It is not going to be worth more or less. But non-fungible means this is not equal to this, right? This will not be equal to the other one. So each and every NFTs are considered unique, and they provide a lot of utilities like gaming, sports events, access to books and other physical assets. And then there could be passive income revenue generating NFTs. So there are plenty out there. Let's get into that later on. But I'm glad that I'm leading a passionate team which sits across Europe and India. We are already a team of 30. We have raised a little over $6 million. And then it's not just about the money, but then we got the money from some of the stalwarts in the industry. So to name a few, Coinbase is an investor, Polygon is an investor, Crypto.com is an investor, Chainlink is an investor, and we are humbled to have such a star-studded lineup of investors onto our cap table. And the market situation. So we are just keeping our heads down and focusing on building right now.
Lovely. Vijay, thank you for sharing your introduction and what you've been building, and also giving us a little glimpse of NFT. Obviously I'm gonna try and break that down further so we understand it a little bit more further. Now you spoke about Web3. Web3, we all say that it's the next evolution of the internet. So far we have been restricted to the World Wide Web, which is giving us so much. It was Web 1, then Web 2, and now it's going to be Web 3. I mean, this is a little complicated for the layman to understand. So can you break down what was Web 1, what is Web 2, what is it doing, what's it done to us, how we are enjoying the benefits of Web 2, and a glimpse of what Web 3 is and what it's going to do to society, businesses, and consumers?
Yeah, sure. So Web 1, as you know, the early internet days where people get to build something, people get to write something, right? That is how it all started. So you can imagine early internet days where people were working on some early softwares. People were working on C, C++, and then people were using floppy disks to copy certain things, and then they were taking pictures of using age-old cameras from Nikon or so many Kodak was there at the beginning. And then Web 2 arrived where things became more centralized in the sense Google, Facebook. There are typically 4 or 5 entities in the world who literally own everything in the world right now with regards to data. Like I said, when back in days when we used to save data, we first used floppy disks, and then we moved on to CD, and then we moved on to DVD, and then pen drive, hard disk, and now we are saving everything onto the drive, right? If you go and ask anybody, people are saying, yes, I have everything on my drive, it is safe. But it is actually not. I mean, how many times we have seen Instagram or Facebook going down, right? When WhatsApp doesn't work for even 10 minutes or 15 minutes, people go crazy. And imagine Google coming out and saying, sorry, I lost your data. What happens? We cannot claim, right? We cannot go and do anything about it, because we are signing all those agreements and privacy statements before even using it. And even if something happens to Google, touch wood, it shouldn't. But everything is gone because everything is centralized. And that's the same with other entities like Microsoft, IBM, Amazon, and a lot more companies. So Web3 here, which we are talking about, enables the user to own things, right? Let's say if you create a video and upload it on YouTube, let's take this podcast. You upload this to YouTube or Amazon or Apple Podcasts or whatever it is. They get richest when you grow. And what you get in return is like a penny. Sometimes when you are a successful hit, they might give you some pennies out of it. And that is what people are paying for YouTubers. People are paying for TikTokers. But with Web3, whatever content that you own, you will be rewarded. Right? There are music NFTs. People get royalties out of every single NFT transaction, even after they sold it, right? For every secondary sale. So primary sale is something that I create something and sell it to you. But then secondary sale is something when somebody gets it from you, and then the chain continues. So whenever secondary sale happens, I get a money. And now how does that look like, right? For every YouTube view, I get some dollars. For every YouTube like or comment, I get something. That is what enables creators economy. And when we talk about Web3, we are still lagging behind. We still have a long way to go, a long area to cover, but we have already started, which is a good sign. So yeah.
Right. Thank you, Vijay, for summarizing Web 1, Web 2, and Web 3. I'm going to try and break down further for my audience, because Web 1, is started with Sir Tim Berners-Lee in CERN, when he was trying to kind of understand all this huge data which was being collected in CERN, and then make that accessible to in CERN and the physicists around the world, and that's how the World Wide Web started. And his vision or goal was to have a decentralized web. But then Web 2 happened, and then we had these big tech companies like the Googles, the Facebooks, and the YouTubes, and the TikToks, who have completely centralize the entire thing, where they are the ones who not just own your data, but also the income which is generated. For example, you give a beautiful example as a content creator. When we create content and we put it out on these platforms, all that we end up getting are likes, and the monetary benefits goes to these giants. So but these wrongs are now being the entrepreneurs such as yourself are trying to correct the wrongs through this new tech or the new language of technology called Web3, and we are going from a centralized model to a decentralized model where the content creator will be benefited more. He'll have a larger stake in building the Web3 platform, and plus the ownership will be there more, rather than or data being used by these giants. We will have the ownership of a data. So we're getting in an exciting space. Talk to us a little bit about the cryptocurrency space also, because that is, again, it's very, very hazy. Could you kind of break that down? Could you kind of give the difference between fiat and cryptocurrency? And do you see that being the future? That's my first question. And maybe talk about decentralization also. Is the world ready for decentralization?
Coming to the first question, I mean, before going to the first question, what you are mentioning is also the wrongs that were happening. I wouldn't call it a wrong outright, because what they are doing is also in a process of making money, and that is what entrepreneurs do. And we are trying here to optimize it. So they are doing something which is really good, because Google and Amazon, they are trillion-dollar companies. They have been there, done that category, and we are trying to optimize it and share the monetary benefits to the creators. So coming to cryptocurrency, yes, cryptocurrency is right now hazy, but if you ask me, it will be the future, because already you have $1 trillion of economy circulating in cryptocurrencies. Take Bitcoin or Ethereum or Polygon, which came out of Indian ecosystem, which is Matic earlier. Everything has its own market share, right? Market cap, and $1 trillion isn't a joke. So if you ask, what is Bitcoin? Probably 5 years back, 5 years ago, it could have been a crazy thing, but now people started believing in a lot, and a lot of venture capitalists are getting into it. The likes of Sequoia, Tiger Global, Axel, they are getting into cryptocurrencies. They are backing crypto giants. So I'm sure that this will be the future. But when you ask about the readiness, I'm skeptical, because we are not really ready for such a decentralization. But I believe that it is all about taking baby steps, little steps, one step at a time. Right? Imagine the first mobile phones. It came with a uh, heaviness, and then you have to type it out, right? If you have to type M, I believe you have to press 4 times to arrive at M. That's how we started the mobile phones, and then we got that flip phones, and then now we got the touch screens, and then look at the evolution. Now we have mobile phones as light as possible, and we have 5G technology. We were talking already about 5G. We are using 4G, and then India is already planning to launch 6G by 2030. So look at the crazy evolution, right? Like few years back, just to download an image, it will take some time to do it. 200 KB image, it will take few seconds or minutes to load. But now look at the transaction, look at the speed. Just a couple of days ago, India versus Pakistan match happened. They played in Dubai, and Hotstar logged in 12 million users watching a game on their application, on their mobile app. Would it be possible a few years ago? 12 million users watching in parallel. It's not one after the other, watching in parallel. So technology has advanced a lot, and if we give that amount of time and then judge this space, I'm sure we'll accomplish a lot, because we everybody, not just you and not just me, everybody expects the decentralization right from day one, because Web3 is all about decentralization, but it will take some time. Like how Google emerged as a market leader, how Amazon started as a bookseller. Come on, they started selling books, and they sold it online, and they found that people started buying books online, and then they thought adding T-shirts to their portfolio, adding vessels, adding electronic equipment, and now Amazon has everything. That is why they call it A to Z. So given time, I believe that we will be on the road towards decentralization, but right now we still have a long way to go.
Right, which I completely double you, because yes, I mean these all these giants, including a mobile, which you pointed out so correctly, that it was bulky and it could do just one or two things, and today look at how it's completely transformed us. We cannot do without a mobile. I mean, I would like to correct myself that yes, these huge tech giants, I think they started with an idea of creating business that benefits everyone. Over the period, maybe things got so a little diluted, because they started the customer base grew from being a few 100,000 or millions to billions, and when you're servicing so many billions of customers, obviously things goes a little awry, and then there's sorry then there are investors who have their own agenda. But all of these in Facebook and Google, are revolutionary companies. At the beginning of the conversation, you kind of explained NFTs, but would you like to kind of elaborate on that? Explain NFTs a little bit further. How it will benefit our artists? How will it enhance digital ownership? And share examples on how NFTs will drive the creator economy.
So, talking about, let's say, giving an example when it comes to gaming NFTs that can also be good for the audience listening. So, let's say people play PUBG, right? I mean, now it is banned in India, but previously people were playing those games. So imagine people buy these vests, right? Buy T-shirts, buy guns inside a game, in gaming assets. They call it in gaming assets. So they play it. After a while, they get bored or they want to uninstall it. And what happens to those assets they bought? Everything is gone back to zero. They get nothing out of it. And now consider those as NFTs. So the watch that I buy inside the game, the vest that I buy inside the game is becoming an NFT. I am getting something, and when I quit the game, when I decide to not play the game anymore, I can still go out there and sell it on a blockchain because it is listed there on a blockchain. It is an asset. It is embedded onto the blockchain. And now, how does that look like, right? Because previously, the Tencent company, which was the parent of PUBG, they took all the revenue of all the in-gaming assets and advertisements. But going forward, the advertisements that I see will also share revenue with me because I saw that advertisement. And the assets that I'm going to buy, either I can trade it inside internally with my game mates. Let's say you and me are playing a game. I can sell that to you. You don't have to go and collect it from the creator all the time. Whereas you can get it from your co-players. You can get it from your enemies. You can get it from your friends. And that enables a whole new market, right? So that is what NFT could enable. It provides ownership, it provides uniqueness, and you can also get a lot of monetary benefits. So as somebody who is playing a game, you can also earn money out of it. Imagine your son playing PUBG for 5 hours. Previously, you would have scolded him. Hey, come on, go study physics or chemistry. But in the near future, if he plays PUBG and if he's trading NFTs, you could probably encourage him, right? Because he could be earning $500 in 5 hours, which is like 40,000 in 5 hours. That is well and truly possible.
We getting in such a fantastic space that we challenging the earlier way on how we looked at things, how we looked at education, how we looked at work itself. Like you mentioned, I mean, who would have thought that playing games could bring you money, could make you earn money? So we getting into this like a fantastic world. It's just that I think for someone who doesn't understand this, you need to be a lifelong learner because there is so much content out there, out there on the internet as forms as podcast or webinars or text, and the experts such as yourself who are giving out information on how you can benefit. So I urge people who don't know about this to kind of do a deep dive, understand, because everything is changing. The future of jobs is also changing. How we work tomorrow, how we live, how we play, everything is going to, how we educate ourselves, how we do healthcare. All this is going to be changing, with the metaverse and the Web3. It's exciting as well as scary for those people who don't want to learn more. So I would urge people to be a lifelong learner because that's the only way you'll be able to have an access or window to the future. Now you are the founder of Bitscrunch, and congratulations on the new fundraise which you mentioned, the 6 million. So wish you the very best. Could you kind of explain what Bitscrunch is and some of your products and maybe the roadmap ahead?
Yeah, sure. So like I said at the beginning, we crunch each and every bits of data. So that is what has become Bitscrunch. So we are an NFT analytics company that also provides forensics. So we look into the dark side of NFTs. When people were going crazy about NFTs, we started looking at the opposite side of NFTs, where people flip NFTs for higher prices, people manipulate something, people inflate the price of NFTs. So we look into wash trading. I'll explain you what is that. So Wash trading is a phenomenon where, let's say, Vijay mints an NFT, sends it to 10 of my friends and asking them to buy at a higher price. So if I mint an NFT for $100 and if Eddie buys it for 200, if Samuel buys it for 500, and then Priya buys it for $1,000, somebody looking at it from an outsider perspective thinks that it's a great NFT because it went from $100 to 200 to 500 to 1,000, and they put in all the money, and then I say goodbye. That's not an NFT. That's just a joke. It is happening, unfortunately, in some cases, and that is what we are trying to solve. So we are being a detective in this NFT space where we use artificial intelligence and machine learning techniques to find out these wash trading patterns. And then we also build a fair price estimation tool for NFTs that also helps people in finding a fair price for their NFTs that they have minted. So in short, we are like the tick mark of NFTs. We sort of approve if an NFT is legitimate, if an NFT is having a fair price, and if an NFT is doing a good in market. So yeah, in short, we are the NFT police.
With every new thing, I think it comes with its pros and cons. I mean, the pros are that, it's going to completely redefine or maybe be the underlying economic layer of the metaverse or the virtual world, the Web3 that we are building. The cons being that, yes, there are people in the space who are trying to leverage it in a bad possible way, and that's the reason it's got its volatile nature, is speculative, and the security is also still not there. But then you are saying that Bitscrunch is the NFT police of sorts, who does the back end forensic detective thing, and you bring in AI to kind of help with the wash trading, which you kind of mentioned. So would you like to kind of elaborate a little bit more on that? How is AI being used, and by when do you think we could have NFTs or VDAs, virtual digital assets, or in gaming assets, which could not have this volatility nature which has right now?
We need time to mature in this space. So right now, a lot of NFT collections are doing really well. Let's take Bored Apes, for instance, uh, CryptoPunks, for instance. They are doing an amazing job and in this space right now. But then when it comes to a lot of other collections, people try to scam people because the space is pretty new. They are trying to launch something and they provide no value. So it's unfortunate. It's hard to see people losing a lot of money out there. But then with tools like Bitscrunch and a lot more startups coming along the way, with that, this platform could be more secure. So imagine us as like the antiviruses of the early internet days, right? Because when computer came in, people started building software. People started coding Java, C, C++. But then there were guys who were trying to scam, who were trying to run viruses onto the computer and take away all the information. And that is when guys like Norton, Avira, and other Kaspersky antivirus came into the picture. So we are more like those guys who try to protect those people from getting scammed or getting cheated. And yeah, we have to be in the good books in the future.
Is this a consumer based product? Is it a B2B product? And if it is a B2B product or a consumer, how could you explain how can we
Yeah,
use the product?
right now. Yes, right now we are primarily a B2B focused. So we have closed deals with guys like Polygon and MasterCard. Obviously, MasterCard is one of the huge Web2 players. Working closely with MasterCard validates what we are doing in this market, right? And when it comes to um, consumer product, yes, we have launched a beta version of our consumer product B2C, unleashnfts.com, and where we will be giving them analytics about NFTs and forensics. Forensics isn't available in the market as of now, and that is what we will provide to the end users. So in the near future, Vijay or Eddie or whoever out there who wants to buy an NFT could pick which NFT is a good investment, and they can decide which NFT is not a good investment because they could see the trial. They could see which NFT has been wash traded, which NFT has been manipulated, which NFT has been overpriced. So these are the factors that can let people like Vijay's and ADs to decide proper NFT investment. So that is what we provide out of this platform.
Could you share your views on India's Web3 ecosystem? Because there are a lot of startups who are kind of moving base to Dubai because of the regulatory problems and the way the government is looking at cryptos, virtual digital assets. What do you think can be done to build a better, sustainable Web3 industry here in India?
Yeah, right now that the norms and the regulations are a bit tough. We have to admit that. I mean, luckily for me, I live in Germany for the last 10 years. So I set up my company here. I do have a big team in India, but then registering the headquarters in India could be a risk with the rules and regulations hovering around our ecosystem right now. And that is why we lose a lot of talent. And that is why people call it Web3 brain drain in India, where people are moving to Dubai and other conducive countries. But I see it as from a different perspective because India is a huge country. So they'll obviously take time, and once they come in, there is no looking back, right? India started using Facebook, and then now look at Facebook. The Facebook has most users in India, and it's the same with Google. It's the same with Amazon and other stuffs. So India is such a country where if they decide something, that is going to change the whole world's ecosystem because we are typically India and China, they are 1/3 or even 2/3 of the world's population, right? So such a large ecosystem needs time to decide. They have to introspect a lot of factors because in India people can be scammed or can lose money easily because the education is not to the roots of Indian ecosystem. But I believe over time things will settle down, and I look forward to Indian government bringing out a lot of talents in the Web3 space, like they did when it comes to fintech. India's fintech is one of the best. We have Google Pay, we have Phone Pay, we have Paytm, and all those softwares. I live in Germany, which is considered to be one of the foremost developed nations. But if I send 100 euros to somebody, it reaches them tomorrow. They are very bad at fintech. Where on the other hand, India's fintech is like rock star. They are super good. And I'm sure India is going to adopt Web3 the same way, and they're going to shine and outperform the others.
You are a data scientist, and obviously, I've got to ask you this question. Artificial intelligence is really growing rapidly. I mean, and we're seeing real world benefits, across the spectrum. And AI is being leveraged for crypto trading. AI is being leveraged for stocks trading, and and the eventually I think everything is data. Through these data we can infer better ways to create products and solutions. How do you see AI impacting crypto trading and stock trading? Do you see AI replacing humans from the loop in the near future when it comes to the crypto and stock trading?
Mhm. I mean, AI has both sides, good side and the bad side, same like a coin where we have heads and tails, right? But I don't think AI could never replace human beings. They could come closer to that, but they cannot definitely replace a human being. Yes, they have replaced humans in certain areas of our life. For instance, when it comes to fitting the cars, right? Back in days, people used to fit their cars or automobiles with their hands, spanners, and screwdrivers. But with AI nowadays, cars are assembled with robotic arms, and humans are just inspecting the accuracy, inspecting the fit, right? They have done a remarkable development in that particular segment. But then when it comes to trading, it's a bit risky. I mean, trading as such is always risky, and using that with AI is going to be totally a backfiring solution because AI doesn't know the external world. right? AI could help us a bit when things are normal, but when there is spike, when let's say Google CEO takes a huge decision of announcing an electric car from Google, that is going to pump its value. So these sorts of external parameters, external factors won't be accessible to AI.
Would you have any advice to students, entrepreneurs who want to look at Web3 NFTs as a career option?
Yeah, sure. I'm building something on Web3, so I would want others to also join me in this journey. So just keep your heads down and focus on what is important. Just focus on building things, and the rest will follow. So just stay consistent and do whatever that you are good at. So that should be enough.
India has a huge engineering population, So, what are your views on India's Web3 developer ecosystem?
It is growing. I could see a lot of communities across Bangalore, Chennai, Pune, Mumbai, and Delhi, which is evolving to the other cities as well. Recently, the Web3 event in Goa was a hit, and there is ETH India coming up in December in Bangalore. There is a lot happening in India already. There are a couple of unicorns, Switch, Cuber, Coin DCX became unicorns last year, and I expect few more unicorns to join those crypto companies to establish the crypto power in India. And I'm sure there is a lot more to cover.
Right, there's some exciting space. In fact, we are organizing a Metaverse Web3O event on March 24th, 25th, and our vision is to make it into the largest Metaverse Web3O gathering in the country, because I feel that Metaverse and Web3O is converging and addressing only just Metaverse or Web3, just Web3O will not help. So that's the reason we are designing this event called XR India Summit, which is scheduled for March 24th, 25th. And I hope that you could participate and be part of the event. So what comes next for you, Vijay, and what comes next for Bitscrunch?
So Bitscrunch, we have launched the beta version of the B2C. We are looking forward to do the main launch in September, by end of September. And then early next year, we are going to launch our tokens. So that is going to be vital to use our services, to do some governance, involve in community, and also staking, and a lot more utilities to our tokens, which I cannot reveal at this stage. But you can expect us to grow every single day from here.
Yes, I think the Web3 ecosystem is growing, and we are changing the language of how we did business. We're trying to move from centralized to decentralization. We are trying to move from a closed, opaque business form to an interoperable, business. So it's an exciting business. But like with all businesses, I think or all technology, it comes with its own pros and cons. Its own friction points and challenges and opportunities. I guess we, as the common man or businesses who are vested in the space or interested, should give this new technology more time to grow. Let it mature, because these technologies are growing really rapidly, and it can really transform the way we do business. So it's an exciting space, and I urge my listeners to give it time, rather than try to say, why we are not getting to decentralization or whatever really fast. But really appreciate you taking time and being part of the podcast. And to my listeners, if you like what you see in here, then please press the subscribe button. Until next time, see you guys. Bye bye. Thank you, Vijay.